Deion Sanders takes girlfriend Karrueche Tran to support Shedeur in front of Pilar Sanders. Sunday in Cleveland unfolded with the familiar ache of a close loss, but the afternoon carried layers that went far beyond the final score. The Cleveland Browns walked off the field with a 23-20 defeat to the Buffalo Bills. Another narrow miss in a season defined by learning curves and hard truths. Yet for Shedeur Sanders, the game represented something deeper than numbers on a stat sheet or another mark in the loss column. It was another chapter in his introduction to the NFL, played out under the watchful eyes of family, cameras, and a spotlight that has followed him since long before he ever took a professional snap. From the opening drive, the game had the tense rhythm of two teams fighting for different reasons. Buffalo arrived with playoff urgency and confidence built on experience, while Cleveland played with the raw edge of a young roster still searching for stability. Sanders' stat line reflected the uneven nature of the afternoon. He threw for 157 yards, connected for a touchdown, and absorbed the consequences of two interceptions that shifted momentum at critical points. There were moments when his poise showed, flashes of timing and confidence that hinted at what could be, and there were moments that served as reminders of how unforgiving the league can be when a ball arrives a fraction late or a defender disguises coverage just well enough. The Browns stayed within reach throughout, refusing to let the game slip away entirely, but Buffalo capitalized on mistakes with the precision of a veteran team. Each missed opportunity felt heavier as the fourth quarter wore on, and when the final seconds ticked away, the disappointment was familiar. Yet even in the aftermath of another loss, the scene around Sanders told a broader story, one about growth, pressure, and the people who have shaped him long before Sundays became this intense. Before kickoff, cameras caught a brief exchange between Shedeur and his father, Deion Sanders. It was a small moment, easy to miss if you weren't looking for it, but it carried years of meaning. Deion's presence has been a constant thread throughout Shedeur's football life, from youth leagues to college Saturdays in Boulder, and now to NFL stadiums filled with expectation. The relationship has never been about shielding Shedeur from pressure. If anything, it has been about preparing him to face it head-on. Accountability, confidence, and composure have been drilled in long before critics and analysts weighed in. That preparation matters now more than ever. The NFL has a way of stripping away narratives and forcing young quarterbacks to confront reality quickly. Every throw is scrutinized. Every decision becomes part of a larger evaluation. For Sanders, the adjustment has been steep, but the foundation laid over years under his father's guidance has helped him navigate the noise. He does not deflect responsibility. He does not fracture under questioning. Instead, he absorbs, processes, and moves forward, traits that are not always visible in box scores but are essential to survival at this level. On the sideline, Sanders also shared quieter moments with his mother and his sister Shalomi. Those scenes carried a different kind of weight, less performative and more grounding. In a league that can quickly reduce players to assets and statistics, those connections serve as reminders of identity beyond football. Win or lose, interception or touchdown, he is still a son and a brother, roles that existed long before draft boards and scouting reports. Yet it was Deion Sanders' appearance that drew an additional wave of attention, shifting conversations away from the field and toward the stands. Sitting alongside him was actress Karrueche Tran, a presence that immediately sparked reaction both inside the stadium and across social media. Deion is no stranger to headlines, but this was a moment that blended personal life with public spectacle, adding another layer to an already watched afternoon. Deion and Tran are rarely seen together in public, which only amplified the curiosity. Their relationship first came into sharper focus earlier this year during one of the most vulnerable moments of Deion's life, when Tran was seen by his bedside during bladder cancer surgery. That image resonated far beyond sports, offering a glimpse into a side of Sanders that is often overshadowed by bravado and confidence. Sunday's appearance felt like a continuation of that quiet reveal, a personal chapter unfolding in full view. Conspicuously absent from the scene was Deion's ex-wife Pilar Sanders, who has previously made it clear she would never sit alongside him at a game. The contrast underscored how much has changed over the years. Relationships evolve, chapters close, new ones begin, sometimes under circumstances far removed from the field but impossible to separate from the public eye that follows figures like Deion Sanders everywhere they go. For Shedeur, all of it existed in the background as he focused on the game itself. That may be one of the most telling signs of his readiness for this stage. He has grown up with attention swirling constantly, learning how to compartmentalize and prioritize what matters in the moment. The NFL spotlight is brighter, harsher, and less forgiving than college football ever was, but it is not entirely foreign to him. With 2 games remaining in the season, Cleveland's focus has shifted from chasing wins to evaluating growth and development. The Browns sit at 3 victories, far from postseason contention, but not without purpose. Each remaining snap is an audition, not just for Sanders but for a roster still trying to define its future. The next test comes at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a physical division rival that will bring its own challenges and intensity. For Sanders, these final weeks represent an opportunity to stack experiences, to learn from mistakes, and to demonstrate resilience. Rookie seasons are rarely linear, especially for quarterbacks asked to shoulder responsibility early. What matters most is not perfection, but progress. How he responds to adversity, how he carries himself after losses, and how he continues to command respect in the locker room will shape perceptions long after the season ends. Sunday's loss will fade into the long list of games that blend together over a career, but the images from the day will linger. A young quarterback navigating another hard lesson. A father watching proudly, accompanied by someone who represents a new chapter in his life. A family united in support despite disappointment. In a league built on results, those moments serve as reminders that football is still deeply human. The NFL does not slow down, and it does not wait for anyone to be ready. It demands adaptation, toughness, and emotional control. Shedeur Sanders is still learning what that truly means, but days like Sunday, heavy with pressure and layered with personal significance, are part of the process. The scoreboard told one story, but the afternoon as a whole told another, one about growth, resilience, and a young quarterback learning how to carry himself under the brightest lights. The weight of those lessons is something Sanders will continue to carry, not as a burden, but as a shaping force. Rookie quarterbacks rarely get the luxury of patience in today's NFL, and for someone with his last name, the margin for grace is even thinner. Every throw is dissected, every facial expression interpreted, every loss framed as either an indictment or a prophecy. Yet what has quietly stood out during these early months is how consistently Sanders has met those moments without deflection. After the Bills game, he did not point fingers or invite controversy. He spoke with restraint, choosing unity over frustration, an approach that reflects a maturity not always found in first-year players. That composure matters inside the locker room. Veterans notice how a young quarterback responds when things go wrong. They notice whether he shoulders responsibility or hides behind explanations. Sanders' willingness to absorb criticism and protect teammates has helped him earn respect even as the losses pile up. Cleveland's season has not unfolded as hoped, but for a franchise constantly searching for stability under center,